In celebration of Youth Day, the second annual Youth Day Classic took place at the Cape Town International Convention Centre on the 16th of June. The Youth Day Classic is a basketball tournament involving some 800 young boys and girls from teams and clubs across Southern Africa. It's run by the African Grassroots Hoops organisation. So what was the thinking behind hosting the event? Former national player and event host Vincent Ntunja tells us more.
Well, it's a thought behind the fact that there were a lot of soldiers that died for us for June 16. So usually what happens is the youth all around the communities that we work with in Langa, Nyanga, Mitchells Plain, Pontyville, all around Western Cape to be precise, their hands are always idling. They don't know what to do during the youth month. And if you can remember, there were youth who died in 1996, because of the freedoms that we enjoy today. So instead of just having youth sitting on the corners, robbing or just doing other social ills or just having no time to use wisely, we say, why not organize a basketball tournament for them, use that as a product of something that can get them off the streets, and then we bring them all under one roof at the tournament at Cape Town International Convention Centre. It has never happened before where basketball sport is hosted at a Cape Town Convention Centre. So we're breaking boundaries. We try to just reach greater heights so that at the end of the day, the youth can know that they have a voice. The youth can know as well that they belong in spaces like the City ICC. So it's a big one. Fortunately for this year, we got international team coming from an African continent in Kenya, traveling all the way for the game of basketball. We got a team coming all the way from Johannesburg, coming here to represent. We got a team coming all the way from Kimberley, coming to represent. And obviously we have the local favorites who will also be partaking in the tournament, the likes of Montana Vikings and Spartans, who are the defending champions from the tournament last year. So it promises to be a very interesting one. We've seen a couple of Kenyans. They don't look small. They're quite big for their age. So they are ready to give our boys a run for their money. But I'm certainly sure that the overall, the objective will be reached in a sense that all the 1,000 youth that we took from the communities to be part of this event, they'll have so much fun. They will enjoy, they will network, they will make long-lasting friendships, because I always say that in my first traveling out of the country when I was a young 15-year-old, going to Russia in World Youth Games, that was an eye-opening experience for me. I made friends there. Today, I'm still friends with those people all around the world. So that means the game of basketball can also create that platform for you where it makes the world even smaller. So I'm grateful that I'm providing an opportunity for young boys and girls like that. Obviously, it would not have been possible without my partner, Giovanni Freeman, whom coming from America, wanting to spend his time and just nurture South African kids in order to be better version of themselves. So it's people like him who are selfless, trying to just make sure that kids coming from our impoverished background, they don't use that as a disadvantage to say, I can't reach where I'm supposed to be. So we are excited and looking forward to just having the teams play out. I'm sure those boys and girls want the coveted prize of winning the 40,000 with Under Armour prizes.
The massive success of the inaugural Youth Day Classic a year ago prompted great interest from the basketball community around the country. And it gave the clubs and players an incentive to keep training and performing. It also resulted in an increase in the number of teams participating, some coming from as far afield as Kenya.
Well, excitement in the kids, you always know, when we even announced that we're gonna, when we finished the tournament last year, they were already asking, are we guys hosting it next year already? And imagine now the logistic that goes and the resources that goes hosting a tournament, which is something that they don't understand. But eventually, when we took the word out in the streets that we're gonna have the tournament, a lot of kids SMS us, a lot of kids send us WhatsApp messages and went to our Facebook page, African Grassroots Hoops, and just wanting to inquire. Hence, we got a good response this year, teams coming from outside and participating with locals. It shows that the game is growing. It shows that the kids are excited. It shows that basketball is still one of the fastest growing sports in South Africa. And us as African Grassroots Hoops, we're looking to capitalize that, position ourselves in a way that we know that we'll still continue. We impact communities that we work with so that positive stories can always come from those communities.
The Vikapu elite team are from Nairobi in Kenya. And their attendance at the Youth Day Classic was seen as a way to build networks across the continent through the sport of basketball, which, according to the Vikapu coach, Zedekia Otieno, is on a big upward growth curve in the country.
Basketball in Kenya is one of the fastest growing sports currently in Kenya. It's being picked. People are now looking at it in form of a rich kid type of game. It has been picked over the last 5 years. We're having so many basketball academies and programs coming up. We have also organizers. Example, Giants of Africa CEO, who happens to be Toronto Raptors, CEO Masai Ujiri, has partnered with us to build basketball courts in 5 public primary schools. So basketball is really coming up in Kenya, and such a tournament like this, it's a very, very good platform and exposure to the kids back at home.
One of the top men's teams at the Youth Day Classic were the Tip-Off Sporting Vikings from Johannesburg, who are making their first appearance at the Cape Town International Convention Centre. Team owner Elvis Ukpong believes that Gauteng is the nerve centre of basketball in South Africa.
Johannesburg is like the basketball nerve centre of the country. So it's like a melting pot. You have great talents from all over the world, and the game is highly competitive and exposed. And I think it's really grown. As you can see, that to me, in my opinion, is one of the reasons why the Gauteng province always succeed over the other provinces, because of that feel of having all these players from all over the world based and playing basketball there.
There's little doubt, judging from the numbers and the talent on display at the Youth Day Classic, that the sport of basketball is gaining immense ground in terms of participation and popularity among the youth of the country. This bodes well for the African continent, whose highest-ranked nation is Nigeria in 33rd place in the world. South Africa is down at 121st place and 18th in Africa.
Basketball is catching fire in South Africa. Obviously, you've got the NBA setting up an office here in Sandton, and so the game is really out there. Generally, it's growing. At the school level, it's really one of the fastest growing sports right now, and I think it's only going to cascade down to all the other levels. But obviously, we have a lot of work to do in terms of administration, which is the biggest challenge. But once we got that settled, I think the country will take its rightful place in the African continent as the basketball powerhouse.
The Tip-Off Sporting Vikings from Johannesburg had an excellent tournament. They reached the final of the men's event, where they went down to the defending champions, the Spartans. Their coach is Baby Malemba.
With the Vikings, this is my second year. Last year, it was pretty good. We lost at the semi-final. This year, we won a couple tournaments. The Arnold Schwarzenegger tournament was organized in Joburg. We won that. I've been coaching for 12 years now. Since I've been in this country playing basketball, the love of the game never stopped us from sharing that knowledge to the kids. So it was just crazy, all about basketball. And then end up coaching professional at BNN, Soweto Panthers, and we won it last year, the BNN. So things are going on the way it's supposed to be.
The experience of travelling across the country was a new one for most of the young boys and girls at the tournament. So while the primary focus was on playing basketball and winning matches, the tournament itself also gave them a chance to see another part of the world, and particularly Cape Town.
From the organization, I would say that we are prepared to give the guys the run here, and obviously our goal is just bigger than just playing basketball. We also want to expose the kids to the city of Cape Town. So we will have fun, but we will compete, and we hope to lift the trophy at the end of the day.
One of the top young players from the 2018 Youth Day Classic, Amber Sylvester, graduated to take part in the Basketball Without Borders program, a camp held by the NBA in conjunction with the FIBA. This is just one of many success stories to emerge from the event, and acts as an incentive for the future, with the ultimate goal of having players receive scholarships from US colleges and universities. But the African Grassroots Hoops program is also about so much more than basketball.
Well, potential is always there in our girls and boys who have shown So the eye-opening that we took them in Washington, D.C., in the USA for this young group of dynamic girls, it was something that we always wanted to do almost every year. But as you can imagine, the funding that goes to that and also the preparing of that as well takes a lot. So what we envision is that every 2 years, we will try, if we're not taking the team, but rather let's identify talent, young boys and girls, who can be able to train hard and represent us, and then we transfer them to the universities in America. Now we use that as a benchmark, and then we say, all the time when we grow this under 12, under 14, under 16, once you reach the level of between 17 and 18, how ready are you for us to get you a scholarship? You go and study in the US because we've got connections, the US consulate, since we've been traveling and taking other girls there. So we're trying to maximize that as well. And also, it doesn't have to go to be overseas for that matter. A young girl from Valhalla Park or from Pontyville, from Heiderford, from Gugulethu to Nyangalanga, you know, imagine now having a chance to go study at some of our local universities without having to pay a single cent, but just come and say that I'm a student athlete, so I just want to be a basketball player and also focus on my studies and get that paid for. That's something that we always look forward to because we believe the balancing of education and also sports helps a lot in order just to grow the human being, because sometimes you might not make it as a professional in your sport, but if you have the education that can back you up, that's a paper that you can usually use for the betterment of yourself and go look for a job or even do some social entrepreneur stuff or become a businessman or woman for that matter. So those are type of ideas that we come up with to try to create for these young boys and girls, so that at the end of the day, the idling hands, the heart that is there, we always have, we don't have to teach, the mind that is there, let them use it for something that's positive, that can continue, knowing that the future generation is in safer hands. Because if we're honest about it, our communities have become so dangerous. We hear on the news on a daily basis about how dangerous it is in schools and all of that. People are not safe in their own spaces. So how can we do that? We have to play our part, but forming the right frame of mind in these young boys and girls to say, you don't have to be a criminal in order for you to be respected in your community. You don't have to do drugs in order for you to be respected in your community. You don't have to just want to be that guy who kills or carry guns in order for you to be respected. I'm the example of that, where I use a basketball, where my friends will go left to just go do drugs or go do guns or things like that. I'll just get my ball and go to the court. So today I'm still standing while most of them are under 6 feet under. Some of them are arrested in prison or wherever, you know. So I never wanted to be that statistic. I tried by all means. So I'm grateful that the game of basketball saved me. So it is only fair that I create opportunities like that for young boys and girls as well. So far so good in our short period of time in existence, the amount of accolades that we have accumulated, the amount of work we've done in the communities is just paramount to just immense work that has shown of how much we've gained. And obviously the growth is measured by now the leaders that we have produced today. Our young girls now going to their schools and become the motivational speakers, going to their respective schools, motivate other students before exam time, you know. So we use them for good purposes as well. We take them, as I say, go to the other clubs who might be as not as fortunate as you, because you were up and suffering and now you're in a position, you're standing. Let's take that and go uplift someone else. At the end of the day, we make a huge difference in our communities once again.
The Youth Day Classic Women's Tournament was won by the Montana Vikings, who beat the African Grassroots Hoops All-Stars 21-19 in the final. The men's title went to the defending champions, the Spartans, 29-21 winners over the tip-off Sporting Vikings. Well played to them all.